It comes after Tory leadership hopeful Tom Tugendhat said this week he is willing to leave the ECHR as he moves to secure support from the right of the party. Nigel Farage issued a stinging slapdown to Conservative leadership hopefuls he claims are pretending to be behind leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. In a post on X, formerly Twitter, the Reform UK leader wrote, ECHR membership is a Tory leadership issue because Reform are a force. In a brutal 11-word swipe, he added, the difference is we want to leave and they just pretend. It comes after leadership hopeful Tom Tugendhat said this week he is willing to leave the European Convention on Human Rights as he moves to secure support from the right of the party. In an article for The Telegraph, Mr. Tugendhat, who has long been seen as a moderate, warned that institutions making it harder for Britain to control its borders will either have to get out of the way and stop frustrating elected politicians, or face the UK withdrawing entirely. Addressing the ECHR, the former soldier said the party agrees that if any institution does not serve the British people, and makes it harder to control our borders, we will have to exempt ourselves from them, or leave their jurisdiction. The International Convention is enforced by the European Court of Human Rights and the UK played a key role in its creation following the Second World War. Tory hardliners have long been calling for the UK to leave the ECHR, claiming it is a barrier to Britain having adequate control over its borders. Former Home Secretary Suella Braverman has argued that the international conventions governing refugees aren't fit for purpose, and only encouraged activist lawyers to block deportations. Critics say leaving the convention would have dire consequences, including damaging intercommunal relations, harming strategic relations with the US, and threatening human rights. Tugendhat had previously argued for reform but that the UK should remain part of it, but has since backtracked in a bid to win over MPs on the right of the party. Farage has demanded a referendum on the ECHR, and said earlier this week he believes there is sufficient support in the country to carry it through as he attacked the Tory government's inaction on the issue. Mr. Farage said in his maiden speech in the House of Commons, on Monday, the Prime Minister spoke and said, our commitment to membership of the ECHR is absolute. Rishi Sunak, responding for the opposition, didn't query that in any way at all. He sort of made a vague reference in the election that we might consider leaving. He never meant it. So I suggested for a bit of fun, wouldn't it be great to have a referendum on the ECHR because the country would vote to leave? In this parliament, I felt more outnumbered in the last week here than I ever did in Brussels. There are more Brexiteers in Brussels than there are in this Westminster Parliament. This is a Remainer Parliament. It's a Rejoiner Parliament, it's a globalist Parliament. It's a Parliament totally unconcerned with massive population growth. So the five of us from Reform UK may be very much in the minority, with a few Conservatives having the guts to back us, but I think in the country, we've got huge support. The former Tory government's initial plan to fly illegal immigrants to Rwanda was blocked by the ECHR in June 2022 after issuing injunctions over the specifics of individual cases.